Good evening and welcome at KVK Racing Network for another exciting race up here. This morning we had the BRL, tonight we have Sunday Night Skippy, not one but two races here at Hungaroring. Really looking forward to this, and of course I'm not going to do this by myself. We've tried it a couple of times, that's not fun. So I asked Matt Zepka to join me. Matt, welcome in the booth.
Hey Pim, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you over here. We're gonna have an exciting race. I know this track pretty well, trained a lot for it, not in a Skippy but in a GT3. So I'm curious to see what we're gonna see over here in this race. We're nearly ending the Formula 2 qualification. We can have a quick look if we see already sometimes coming in.
I think this is the end of the practice.
Oh, this is the end of the practice. Oh, wow. I didn't want to be that early, but I was actually thinking we're going live for the qualification, but then we're going to see the qualification. That's going to be interesting. I know that's an open qualification. I always really like that up here. And look at this. It's some people like to play some handball or football or American football, if you call it, and some people like to drive, and we have 17 drivers here in Formula 2. It's going to be exciting.
Oh yeah, this is a great turnout given that it's the same night as some other sporting event. We have a good amount of new names here too.
Yeah, and we're going to have a lot of chance to actually see those people. Let's have a quick look. I see already some people are going out. This is an open qualification, and Jake Ashe is one of the first ones who is out. And he's now a new team member of Chess Webber. I do see on the colors they have the same color scheme.
Yep, the Cajun chili peppers.
Yeah, probably Jake did that on purpose, so I can't pronounce it, but I'm gonna let the Jake Ashe team for now. Let's have a quick look. Who's actually driving behind him over there? That's Barry Stockdale. Yeah. And of course Rusty Pontenberg, always here. And then we see a new car. It's changed the same name, Melody Chance, but not that golden car anymore. The actually, and if you look at it, I think it's an Apex car. Would that mean that we do have a new team? Because Mist Apex is now officially entering in Formula 2. Interesting to see.
Yeah, I see Dwayne Hoffman.
In Dwayne Hoffman is the same car, so don't think I'm actually showing you Melody Chance. No, this is actually Dwayne Hoffman. Dwayne Hoffman is a new name in our league.
Yep, another new name is Mark Usse. The 504 car.
Oh wow, and that's also a Mist Apex. That's gonna make it very confusing with three cars with the same livery. Do say it's a nice livery over there. Probably Melody Chance had an eye for that, or at least a hand in that part. So this means that they're now on their first lap, going round. I see DJ Brooks making quite some time up. He's also relatively new, did a couple of races, but looks like he's quite fast here in the Hungaroring. Has some difficulties up there with some drivers. Oh, and let's have a quick look at Jake Ashe, because Jake Ashe knows this track a lot. Has been here, I think, is this the third time, Matt?
This is the second time.
Second time.
Yeah, but there's only one layout to pick from, so you get to know him pretty well.
Yeah, and we do see that Jake is really going on the edge, trying to find all those corners. Goes a little bit wide over here. Luckily not an off track. You need to be with 4 tires off the track, and he wasn't doing that. But you can see that he is having a good time, so he needs to make sure that he stays on that track till the finish line. Otherwise the lap doesn't count. We see Barry Stockdale going behind him. Curious if he has also. Oh, Jake is making his tires really work there. That can't be good for a good track. And let's see. Barry Stockdale has that draft and immediately comes a little bit quicker than Jake Archer and Rusty Pontenberg right behind. We're gonna see some more people now coming in. On that first lap.
203.9 on his opening qualifying lap.
Ooh, well, we need to look for him. And look at that, yeah, they're all in that draft. Peter Lee over here, our co-commentator for Formula 1, is currently in that 3rd position. I think he wouldn't mind that. But it is really important how that draft plays a role in this group. Let's drive along with Peter Lee. Well, we see some fights going on in the front, and that's never good for a qualification. No, Peter knows this track very, very well. Oh, somebody goes off track, and now he needs to give room. Very important.
Peter's strategic. He can use this as a draft to make up a little bit of time.
Who's that in front of him? Is that Jake Ashe?
Yeah, it looks like it's Jake.
Yeah, Jake is not fun, not slow, so that could be a beneficial part. Currently, I see Melody Chance and Christopher Guzzi making a lot of headway, improving on their lap times. Right, here they go. I'm really curious to see if Dembkowski can do anything better. He already had a quick time, but he's again had the use of that draft is going to help him a lot. I know that Formula 2, Formula 1 people are getting their information on here, and look at that, Dembkowski still on that 1st position. No one can touch that 2:03.09. Or no, it can. Peter Lee, look at that. Peter Lee is actually taking position. And while I say that, Scott Allen has improved and is now on that 1st position.
Yeah, Scott Allen with the 2:03.2.
Black car is like a rocket. Look at that. Yeah, are we going to see times below the 2:03? Because I don't even think that Scott Allen had that much draft. He's a little bit behind that group where Peter Lee is in.
Yeah, I think by now the tires are starting to warm up a little bit and they're sort of getting into the groove here, so I think we'll see someone dip into the 202s here. And then in the race we could probably see the 201s even.
Well, and if someone can do that, then we know that Nicholas Mazza is who can do that. Currently on the 204.1, but is having a really nice lap over here and is drafting a lot from Joe Zubo. Curious to see if that's going to end up in a fight or that they actually that he's going to make a really fast time.
Yeah, that's one of the strategic points of open qualifying. Is
finding
someone you can work with.
But also, if you're quick enough, then you can run it by yourself. But this track, and Joe Zubo goes off, and that I think is a perfect timing for Nicholas Mazza. Now he needs to run this last bit by himself. The big drafting points are done, so maybe he can actually gain some time over here. Get also in those 2:03s. Have a quick look before he comes. I see Dembkowski coming over the line. Want to make sure he is having a lot of draft over there. I think from Chris Girondellis. Does that mean he can improve his time? No, Christian Girondellis is improving his time. But Dempegowski is not. And then let's go back to Nicholas Matza. More people are coming over the line, so we could see some changes coming up. And Nicholas Matza was a really fast last sector, but is still on that 2:04. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
Yeah, me too.
Is he holding back? Is he that desperate that he wants to stay in Sunday Night Formula 2? I can imagine it, though, when we see, I think, Jake Ashe going off there. Well, better now than in the race.
Looks like Nicholas Matza might have had an off track on the last lap.
Oh, that's a good one. And while we talk about that, we see Dixon Davenport coming in and on that second position. And we are nearly there. I think everybody can finish their laps in this open qualification. So we could see even an improvement over here. But currently it's Scott Allen who's at the first position. Dixon Davenport on the second position. And Chris Girondellis on the third. I am curious, is Peter Lee going to do something? He can do it under pressure, but I'm curious to see if he can make this happen. I'm not 100% sure if he has full draft over here, or he needs to do it all by himself.
Yeah, I think starting in the top 5 is going to be really helpful here. So I think he may be happy if no one else can pass him, but we'll see.
Well, it is Scott Allen right in front of him, so he's definitely benefiting from that. Who is the number 6? Oh, number 6 is Melody. Oh, this is going to be a nice race like this. Well, I see Scott Allen now going into that last corner, and he is having a very quick time. Can he make it into the 2:02s? Is that the case, or are we going to see it? He is not improving his time, although he did have a lot of quick time, so weird to see that happening. And we see Nicholas Matza coming into the first position. Really well done on the 2:02.9. Look at that. We have made that little extra step, and now we're waiting for Dixon Davenport.
Yeah, it looks like a few people had some off tracks there, so they may have had faster times, but they weren't recorded for qualifying.
No, we do see the Dixon is coming over, and
ooh,
he is taking the first position. Look at that. Nicholas Matza thought he had it with that 2:02, and then Dixon Davenport comes up and has a 2:02.8. Amazing. All right, this is going to be an interesting race, Matt. People are going to be thrilled about this, not watching, some football game, but no, actually going here and see this kind of qualification. I'm happy that we came early.
Yeah, that's about a tenth between the top 2 there. The top 7 are within a second of each other. And on a long track like this, that's not a big difference.
All right, so let's have a quick look if we can see. We know the grid, but always great to have that up here. Dixon Davenport with a 2:02.8. Congratulations. He's the first pole position, I think, for him. And great to see that happening here in the Hungaroring. Nicholas Matza, second position. Always up in those top 3. Again, really a good time. And then we see Scott Allen. Chris Girondellis, really well done. Moved up to that 4th position. Peter Lee, always there. 1 second behind Dixon Davenport. And then we see Dempegowski, Barry Stockdale, Joe Zubo, Kurt Smith, Greg Montgomery, Jake Ashe. 11th position. A little bit of a surprise to that, but see what happens on that. And then, of course, we have Mark Usi, our newcomer. And then we see Dwayne Hoffman, also our newcomer. Christopher Guzzi, welcome back. Richard Raboya, Rusty Pontenberg, Melody Chance, DJ Brooks, and Justin Divin. Those are the drivers of today. Let's have a quick look temperature-wise, how we're doing. 78 Fahrenheit. Nice temperature, not too hot.
I guess Hungary is pretty nice this time of year.
Hungary is really nice, surprisingly, I have to say. I also say that there are coming a lot of people onto these kind of races, and I don't see any mask restrictions. So where are all the drivers? I only see Melody all over there, all by herself.
I think Joe's giving the drivers briefing now, so they're listening very closely to.
And I still remember that from my races myself, and always the first message was, "Don't grid right now." I didn't think Melody got that one, and she's staying out over there. I'm curious, Matt, what do you think of that? Is that gonna cool down your tires?
Might use up a little bit of your fuel, actually. So,
Ooh.
I don't know the pit windows here, but I know idling on the grid will use up a little bit of the fuel, and on the ones where it's close, I think the Hungaroring, in one of my races, it was a close cutoff there where that might make the difference. But a longer track like this might have a smaller pit window.
Yeah, it's still very quiet. But that means that they're still talking about what to do and what not to do on those first laps. League mentality, all those kind of things. I think that does set this league apart from other leagues. That community that they have. And I do see that everybody's coming to the grid. So we're gonna have an interesting race over here. Look at that, full field. Now here's some engines. It's all about the patience in that first lap. Making a right start is not that difficult, but making a first corner is very difficult. I don't see any lights coming on. Always takes a little bit longer here. Crowd is getting anxious. What are the stewards doing? Oh, we don't see any movement. Do you see any movement?
No, it's a test of patience here.
Oh, and now at least the engines are going on, and the lights are also going on. We have all reds, and here we go. Look at that, then they're going off. We see Dixon Davenport, Nicholas Matza, Scott Allen immediately driving along over there. And it is all about who's going to go run into that first corner. They're going 4 wide in the back, but here in the front we see that, look at that, Dixon Davenport holds his position quite nicely. Everybody goes through that first corner, really nice.
Yep, that's almost always the hardest corner for these races.
Yeah, and we see that everybody goes through this chicanes as well, which is always a little bit tricky. Getting up to speed right here, we see Jake Ashe already trying to make some moves.
There's not a lot of really great passing opportunities on this track. In these cars, you definitely can go 2 wide pretty much anywhere, but that doesn't mean that you should.
No, we do see that it's pretty much one line already going in here. I think Chris Girondellis has moved up 1 position from Scott Allen, 3 and 4, but for the rest it's a very track that is very difficult to pass, although I do have to say Richard Raboya already took up 3 spots.
Yeah, I think Richard got a really good start from my point of view.
Yeah, I'm going to see, I don't see anything happening much. They're all lined up over there. Look at that. let's have a quick look on intervals. Dixon Davenport is actually driving already nearly a second beyond Nicholas Mazza. He is doing really, really well. And Nicholas Mazza has difficulties to get rid of Chris Girondellis and Scott Allen. Look at that, they're nearly sticked to each other. Whoa! And what happened there with Jake Ashe makes a complete dive bomb. Luckily doesn't hit anybody, but that was a major move. He took up 2 positions. Kurt Smith and Barry Stockdale stayed out of that. Curious to see, and he does it again over here. Look at that. Jake Ashe, the man to watch right now, is on that 11th position.
Yeah, sometimes you just get focused racing and you see the cars around you, you just miss your braking point a little bit.
Yeah, Rusty Pontenberg is over there with Melody Chance and Dwayne. And I do see that Melody Chance is, look at this. This is basically how Melody goes through corners. She sometimes goes a little bit wide, but can always save that car. So she always finishes. Whoa, we see great moves in here. Look at that. That was, who was that?
Was it one of the missed Apex?
That's Justin Dibben, who makes some awesome move on Melody Chance over there. Great to see that happening. A little bit in the front. Oh, we see Rusty Pontenberg has crashed. Have a quick look what exactly happened. Looks like he just went out on his own, yes. Those things can happen. I want to go back to the front because Dixon...
Oh, no.
What happened?
It's like DJ Brooks and Melody Chance.
All right, we're going to have a look at that after this because we do see that Nicholas Mazza is going for that first position. Dixon Davenport is on that outside. They need to go for that break right now, but who is going to outbrake who? Currently, it looks like Nicholas Mazza has a really fine line, but Dixon is coming straight back over here. And then we go into these S's, and that's going to be very, very interesting to see. Are these guys immediately going to fight so that Scott Allen is coming back? And by the way, in the back we see Joe Zubo also making his moves. Joe Zubo overtook Barry Scottdale, and Barry is now immediately coming back. Barry needs to look out.
Yeah, Joe's leading that big group from 6th place to 10th place. It's like
so
very close.
Let's have a quick look what happened with Melody.
Looks like there was another accident.
Oh, then we'll see that straight after this one. But this was Melody who basically... Whoa! What? DJ Brooks made a really, really ugly pass over there. And then you saw that Craig Montgomery slide out.
Looks like Nicholas Mazza actually slid out as well.
All right, let's go back to the live before we miss everything. You gotta be kidding me. So now let's have a quick look. Dixon Davenport on that first position. Scott Allen. I want to see what happened to Mazza before we say anything about that. I do see in my logs that he went off track, but what happened? Oh, he just went off track by himself. This happens a lot in that corner where it's a little bit touchy when you hit that curb. Luckily, everybody could pass, but literally everybody did already pass him. So that's the reason why he's on 12th position, and we're now seeing Dixon Davenport needs to defend from Scott Allen, who took off that second position quite nicely and drives now the fastest time of the race at 2:03.3. We know they can go a lot quicker, so they're probably also taking a little bit more care. Those tires are getting warm. Matt, when do you get really comfortable in this Skippy?
Honestly, it depends on the time and the length of the laps, but I would say 10 minutes have passed here. I think the tires should be pretty warm now. But usually like 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, so that means they should do it right now. And I do see that Nicholas Mazza went into the pit. So probably just want to shake off his bad feeling. There is time to do that right now. We have 2 pit stops. So he can do that while Scott Allen and Dixon Davenport are really getting close over there. See Scott Allen going off track. I'm curious because I know that there's a big penalty black flag over there. But it doesn't look to hurt him up here, and he can follow Dixon Davenport. But look at Dan Pagowski right behind there. Also doing a really good job.
Yeah. And Joe Zugo in P4. Very consistent with Peter Lee right behind him.
Yeah, that's a nice, interesting group actually. Joe Zubo, Peter Lee, and Barry Scottdale right behind there. And then we have to wait a little bit to see Kurt Smith, who is right behind there. And oh, nice save from Kurt Smith, who came in a little bit hot in that corner. And immediately lose momentum to actually get back in that group, and now needs to worry. And I do see that Scott Allen is making a move and sticks it on that outside. Look at that. And if you keep it over here, then you would mean that the next corner you have the inside, and he does do that really well. And then immediately Dixon it takes a different line, trying to see if he can go do an undercut over there, but that's not happening. And then Pagowski is coming closer while Scott Allen says, I want to have my first position back right now. And they're doing that right now. Look at this.
It's like Kurt Smith is passing Barry Stockdale.
Oh, yeah, that's on the straight. Easy overtake over there. And then we also see Rusty Pontenberg right in over there. Greg Montgomery and Christopher Guzzi are also driving very close. And Jake Ashe went into the pit. Of course, I would nearly say. All right, Joe Zubo is losing his position on Peter Lee. Peter Lee is currently taking that fourth position in with 1.7 seconds behind Dan Pagowski, who has completely came back to Dixon Davenport and Scott Allen.
Yeah, really quietly, Richard Raboa is making up spaces and time. Looks like he's catching up to that group.
Well, but while you see
Peter
that
Lee,
Dan Pagowski takes the second position over from Dixon Davenport, Dixon needs to be getting a little bit worried. Was on that first position, but now he's dropping back. And we also see that Scott Allen is really making up a lot of space. Look at that, Dan Pagowski, while fighting with Dixon Davenport, they lost quite a bit of time. Scott Allen takes all advantage of that. Now, this will be an interesting one to see right at the end of this long straight. Is Dixon coming closer? Joe Zuo went into the pit. So that means that Peter Lee is now all by himself, driving on that fourth position. Still quite a bit of time behind the leaders. Scott Allen and Dan Pagowski and Dixon Davenport. You see Scott Allen just trying to gain some more time, but Dan Pagowski comes slowly closer and closer.
Yeah, it's good to see Dan Pagowski pick up the pace.
I do have to say, it's the first time in this season where Dan Pagowski really moved up. He's 4 positions up from where he started, and yeah, he has clear view on that first position. Just needs to be consistent. I'm curious to do what he's going to do on the pit right here, but currently we know Dan knows how to handle that in the pit. But here's Dixon knows how to do that. His first race right here in Formula 2. I'm not sure, do you remember your first race in Sunday Night Skippy? Oh,
I do.
Dan, hold that car. Then had a quick momentum of loose, and immediately Dixon Davenport comes by side. I'm curious. I think Dan should go in right now. My advice to Dan would be go in.
Coach Pim, the strategy calls him.
Yeah, but if you have something like that and you don't feel comfortable, you know, try to relax a little bit in that pit and get out really fresh. But he just stays in. Of course, you're behind Dixon Davenport, who had that pole position. He's not slow. That would definitely benefit him, and he is making that move right now, going really quickly. When I say that, Barry Stockdale and Justin Diven going in. Justin Diven, our hard charger on the moment. Look at that, 10 positions up. It's now going into the pit.
We have a pretty good battle going on for P7, actually.
P7, that's Richard Raboya.
Yep.
Together with Dwayne Hoffman. Both haven't pitted yet. You do see that Richard Raboya has climbed up already 8 positions. And Dwayne Hoffman is losing it right over here.
I think that's Mark. Mark Usi.
Oh, that's Mark Usi. Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, one of the Apex guys is missing it because Richard Raboya is making a really nice move over here and can stick that, and then it's difficult to pass in these following sections.
Yep.
Although Mark does try to really take that different line again. See that happening a lot. Right, we're in lap 7, 14 minutes away. I would expect to see some people in the front going in. Scott Allen is comfortable. How's that with Dan Pagowski? We'll have a quick look at the time deltas. Lap times. We do see Dan Pagowski was actually losing 1.5 seconds, and they're both now going into the pit together with Scott Allen. So our top 3, top 4, top 5. Any more? Richard Raboya, are you going to make it the top 6? Of course you're going to make it the top 6. And we're going to make it the top 7. Look at that. Everybody goes into the pit.
This might be the cutoff here.
Yeah, it seems that everybody's pretty much on the same technique.
So Joe had already pitted, right?
Joe already pitted. Yeah, let's make sure that we say that correctly.
He's coming
Joe
around.
already pitted, and he's the first one who comes out right now. Let's see, all the rest is coming out. So Scott Allen is still on that first position. Then Pagowski, Peter Lee and Joe Zubo are getting now really, really close. Can Peter Lee hold this position? Joe Zubo takes that outside. Can go on full momentum, but now... And there's Peter.
Joe's not done.
No, Joe's not done it at all, and Peter takes it too wide. Look at that, Joe Zubo takes that position really well. Can he hold it? Yes, he can hold it. Takes this, and then he's ahead of Peter Lee. Nicely moved from Joe Zubo for that 4th position.
Getting a little behind them. Barry Stockdale and Nicholas Matza are going wheel to wheel through one of the turns. But they're heading into the technical section that doesn't have a lot of great passing opportunities here.
It doesn't, and still I believe in Nicholas Matza that he can do that. He's done that so many times, and he showed it so many times. If we're driving along with him, we can see how close he is to Barry Stockdale. This is 0.2 seconds. Nicholas Matza stays cool, knows this is a difficult track to pass. So needs to hold on and wait for the right moment. And the right moment is possible right over here. But Barry Stockdale has enormous pace. So that's going to be not that easy as you think it is.
Looks like Jake may be making up some time on Nick and Barry.
Oh, that would be impressive if you can run. And I do think. Do you think Nicholas Matza is going to make a move over here? That we'll see if he's desperate or not.
And
He
there
is
he
that
goes.
desperate. Look at that. He is that desperate. He is going to make that move and it's going to make it stick. Although Barry Stockdale is immediately moving side by side. And now they're going into those S's nearly together. No, Barry Stockdale takes that advantage. Look at that.
That was a great move by Barry to defend that.
Yeah, he saw it coming and immediately, instead of defending, he actually took that different line. And then his exit was way better than Nicholas Matza. But what about Kurt Smith and Peter Lee and Joe Zubo? Those three are actually glued to each other.
Yeah, I think Peter's writing down the serial number of Joe Zubo's gearbox now. He's gonna send it in for inspection, I think.
Well, you know you can do that with Peter, because Peter is a very safe driver. You do see how close they actually are driving, and Kurt Smith is also not afraid to get any closer. No social distancing right here on the track. Those guys you can put under a blanket. If Peter was here, he would say that. We're following along with Joe Zubo. And Peter is going to make the move over here. Look at that.
Kurt Smith is loving this.
Yeah, that's really pushing it, and immediately Kurt Smith has also positioned to make something happening. They're going side by side, but that's going to be, that's too difficult. Peter Lee can easily defend that. Immediately Joe Zubo runs away a little bit. That's really what's happening over here. To fight or not to fight. And Scott Allen, who's driving on first position, doesn't have to fight anybody. He can just drive his laps. It's easy, and that is the quickest that can happen. Dixon Davenport and Dan Pagowski are fighting with each other for that second position currently, because Scott Allen is far, far away. Let's have a quick look in the back. How is DJ Brooks doing? He's currently 3.3 seconds down from Chris Girondellis. That's going to be difficult to actually catch him, because that's a very, very fast driver. Other drivers we see up here Mark Ussi, who is fighting, or how would you say that? Mark Ussi?
I think so. That's my best
Mark,
guess.
if I say it wrong, please tell us in the Discord, and we will not change it, but we will try to think about it. Richard Verboya is right in front of him, and or is that Richard Verboya?
Yeah, Richard's right behind him.
Yeah,
Just checking his mirrors.
Already a couple of laps that's going on like this. What I say, I do want to go back to Kurt Smith and Peter Lee, because that threesome is getting tight again. And Nicholas Matza is now also getting close over there. This is going to be an interesting group with like 4 or 5 drivers. Barry Stockdale, if he can continue with Nicholas Matza, he's going to be up there. I see Jake Ashe even behind there.
Jake ran a 202.6 as his last lap, so he has the pace now. I think he settles down, he can make it the time to join that group too.
Let's have a quick look if we can drive along with Barry Stockdale. Oh, and we see Nicholas Matza going into the pit again. Yeah, he was already early. I'm curious to see if that's actually lap 11. That is really early for the second pit stop. But he is doing it, so it probably will work.
We'll see. I mean,
it's actually interesting to see on time-wise, to see how much time people stayed in the pit. And I do see that Joe Zubo was very, very short in the pit, and Jake Ashe as well. So I expect those two guys to come in earlier than all the other drivers.
looks like lap 16 might be the second pit, the pit stop of the rest.
I love how you always calculate those things. I see Joe Zubo up here and Peter Lee still all together. Let's go to Dan Pagowski. It's fighting with Dixon. Oh, let me have a quick look. I want to see Joe Sumo was going off track and now is going behind them. They probably heard that I was not going to look at them anymore, and immediately they start to fight again. Joe Sumo seems to have a problem. Look at that. Joe Sumo is really missing the corner right over there. Is he going to lose traction with Kurt Smith? Because then Peter Lee and Kurt Smith can run away with this. And look at that. Barry Stockdale is now getting over there. And he is already on the gearbox of Joe Sumo. This is very interesting to see up here. For position number 5, Peter Lee and Kurt Smith. Is somebody going into the pit? No, nobody's going into the pit. Not yet. Of course, Joe Sumo goes into the pit and immediately Jake Ashe follows him right behind there. I was saying that already earlier with their quick time. I was expecting them in very early, but lap 12, they're already in. Mark Use is also coming in. Alright, let's have a quick look at Barry Stockdale, because Barry Stockdale is trying to get closer and closer to Kurt Smith.
Looks like Dwayne Hoffman and Rusty Pontenberg are battling it out here now. E13.
Rusty was this morning not that lucky in the BRL race. Will try to do a lot better. Is now currently on that top 10 position. But it's great to see so many new drivers, Matt. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think earlier we were joking a few races ago that the SF2 field might be bigger than the SF1 field, and now that looks like it might be the reality coming up soon.
Yeah, this brings up the level a lot more. We see Dwayne Hoffman fighting to get back to Rusty Pontenberg. While we say that, Rusty Pontenberg makes a mistake, and this is an easy overtake for Dwayne Hoffman. Take it or leave it. Well, Dwayne Hoffman took that very easily. And this means that everybody has to go past Rusty. Rusty kept that car clean, so can continue. But he's basically getting everybody behind him. Marcucci is now also making sure that he can see that. So we see everybody did one pit stop, and oh, Rusty goes off again. I think there may be something wrong with his steering wheel, because makes 2 mistakes in 1 lap. And I see that Dixon Davenport goes in the pit, and together with him is Crust Smith. So all these people are going into the pit.
And Joe Zubo and Nicholas Matza are battling it out into that second to last turn. And I think both of them have already done their second pit, so they'll be coming around. Jake Ashe too is in that group.
Yeah, oh. And I'm curious because Jake Ashe was getting really close to Nicholas Matza. And they're now battling it out. This is going to be an interesting first corner. Are they going to fight or... no, Joe Zubo and... oh, here he comes. Nicholas Matza. But... I don't know. I just want to mention that Kurt Smith, 8th position currently, but also has done a second pit stop, and he is right behind Dixon Davenport. Look at how close that is.
Yeah, I think
Kurt did a really good pit stop.
Yeah, I think that might be it. I think this is Dixon's first SF2 race, right? So still getting
Kurt
a feel
Smith,
for...
No. Kurt Smith, 7.8 seconds on the... That's not possible. I think he needs to go again.
Well, I guess we'll see pretty soon, right? Where
yeah, him and Marcucci, where we're like not even 10 seconds on the pit road, so that's gonna be... No, that can't be right. Can't imagine that that's enough. But maybe it is. We've seen crazier things happening, and a lot of times I see that with Dan Pagowski, who is now coming over in that last corner onto the straight. He's 8.9 seconds behind Scott Allen. Do want to give him some credits. Look at that. Comes back to the league and immediately takes that first position where everybody thought it's going to be Nicholas Matza. A total different lane over here. We see Scott Allen, Dan Pagowski, Peter Lee, Barry Stockdale and Richard Raboya are going into the pit. And I see some cars coming in there. That's Kurt Schmidt fighting. He's fighting with Dixon Davenport. And Peter Lee can't make that. And look at that. Kurt Schmidt is completely there. I am amazed by the drive style of Kurt Schmidt. He is now together with Dixon Davenport. And I want to look at it again. Yeah, they're really the first leaders. And look at this, Kurt Schmidt is now trying to go side by side. That's going to be difficult, but it looks like he's even quicker than Dixon Davenport on the moment. He's just chilling on that second or virtual second position. Because Scott Allen, Dan Pagowski and Craig Montgomery still need to come in, and then we really know how far they are. What do you think? Will they make this, Matt? Who do you think is the virtual leader?
It's really hard to tell.
It's really hard to tell. And we will know that very soon, because we do see here Scott Allen going into the pit. So, and then I suspect that Dan Pagowski and Craig Montgomery are going to do the same thing.
Yep.
And they are going to do the same thing. It is only Craig Montgomery now that needs to still come to the pit.
Looks like Kurt Smith isn't satisfied being behind Dixon.
Oh yes, look at this, Kurt Smith taking that inside line. That's going to be very difficult. Oh, he took that outside, sorry. Dixon is having that still that position on the fourth. But I'm really curious, how close are they going to get to Scott Allen? Because Scott Allen is already coming out of the pit. Look at that. That's how big the difference is.
Yeah, Dan Pagowski is out too.
Yeah, so those guys are both out. Then everybody has pitted, and we're now seeing the fight for position number 3. Dixon Davenport and Kurt Smith. And Kurt Smith's taking that outside line, trying to squeeze now, but that's not going to happen because Dixon is really defending well.
Looks
but
like
that does
Melody
mean that Peter Lee is coming closer. Sorry, what do you say? Melody Chance, what's happening with her?
She caught up to DJ Brooks and made the pass.
Well, currently this car is not bringing any luck to Melody. I think she might have to go back to that golden car because 18th position on the moment. Not where I suspected Melody to end up. But currently that is going on, and we do see that for position number 5, 15, Rusty Pontenberg is back into the race, made some small mistakes. Let's have a quick look. I also see Justin Diven from Georgia coming here out in hot pursuit for Richard Raboya. Justin moved up slowly, is really learning the skip, and it's great to see him every Sunday night here in the Formula 2.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, and what's happened to Peter Lee? Look at that. Peter Lee made a mistake and is having difficulties over there. And have a quick look because everything went well, and you don't suspect that Peter Lee will crash. But here he goes. Barry Stockdale is right behind him. Oh, Barry! No, Barry! He hits Peter Lee, and Peter Lee, I don't think it was much damage, but has to wait and come safely back to the track, like we know Peter is. But that is going to cost him quite a bit of positions. While I talk about that, maybe it's good to actually have a quick look. I always forget about that, but the standings. And then we do see that Nicholas Matza is in the first position, Peter Lee in the second, and Carter Stickney is, who's not here, will lose probably his third spot to Jake Ashe. And right behind there is Rusty Pontenberg. So we're seeing different people here in the top than we see in the championship.
Yeah, that championship battle is pretty close too.
Yeah, I do have to say, with all these drop weeks, I find it very difficult to actually follow what's happening. I'd rather have these races where you have close battles. Kurt Smith right over here with Dixon Davenport, still for that third position. Those guys are going on and on and on.
Don't look now, right behind them.
Yeah,
Nicholas Matza.
Yeah, Nicholas Matza and Barry Stockdale. Of course, Barry Stockdale's right over there as well. He's my new golden boy. And here you see Barry Stockdale trying to get closer and closer to Nicholas Matza. And both taking quite a bit of off track over there. Everything is allowed to take advantage over here. Yeah, this group is going to come together. We have 33 minutes. Are we going to get a one more full lap? Is this going to be the white flag for Scott Allen? Let's have a quick look if we can see that coming up. No, I don't think so. It is. Scott Allen, his last lap. So that means white flag for everybody. And now we can really see Nicholas Matza is coming closer and closer. Kurt Smith is taking that fourth position right now. Last lap. Look at this fight going on. Back and forward. Nicholas Matza is trying to overtake him in that first corner. Is going really hard. It's going to be difficult for Kurt Smith, but we've seen more difficult things with Kurt Smith. He can do this.
The Kurt Smith fan club is cheering him on.
Well, I like his driving, and really improved a lot these last couple of races. And is now fighting with Dixon Davenport for the third position. Oh, sorry, for the fourth position with Kurt Smith. Because Dixon is going to get that third position right over there. Same as Scott Allen is going to win this race. Don't want to jinx it, but that's gonna happen. But it is really the fight over here with Nicholas Matza and Kurt Smith that's really interesting.
Yep, Scott Allen is going to win the race. There's definitely nothing bad that can happen. Dan Pagowski.
Well, Dan Pagowski really, yeah, solid race, and also so sudden. Haven't seen him much in this season in the top 10, and now suddenly here on that second position. Great to see that happening, and I do see that Nicholas Matza is driving away from Kurt Smith a little bit. If Kurt wants to do something, he needs to do it right now. He needs to get really close. I do see that Nicholas Matza had an off track over there. And while I say that, have a quick look at Scott Allen, who he takes that last corners. Solid as a rock. Scott Allen, 7.6 seconds, and is taking that last corner up here, going to the finish line. Really well done. Congratulations, Scott Allen, taking the points home. And after that is Dan Pagowski coming over the line, and of course with this threesome, Dixon Davenport. Great race from him, a lot of entertainment, and right behind him is Nicholas Matza, who is getting really close, but he can't make that one up. No, that podium spot is for Dixon Davenport. Nicholas Matza first position, Kurt Smith, and then we see Jake Ashe, Barry Stockdale, of course, don't forget him, Joe Zubo. See Peter Lee coming here over the line. Mark Usse, Richard Raboya, Justin Divin, Greg Montgomery. And I'm waiting a little bit for Dwayne Hoffman. Missed Apex has a real representation over here with Mark Usse, Dwayne Hoffman, and of course Melody Chance. And we see them all coming in. There are no more real fights happening. But Melody is driving this home. Melody is also a streamer on Twitch. If you want to You can look her up. Very great Twitch streamer. Always enjoy it. Many different cars. And again, Melody is learning this car, and she's very safe. Knows how to handle this car and know how to bring it home. Currently 18th position, not what she was hoping for. And then we have our last driver, DJ Brooks. And he is coming as last driver over the line. And that is our complete group. And here they're driving, Matt. Always the tradition up here, a long parade.
I'm interested to see who has enough fuel to finish that parade.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing over here. But a great way to see all these cars. I like this mentality. I always say it, and I keep saying it. Formula 2 is something special, and they show that here. Great race from Dan Pagowski, Scott Allen. Hope to see them in the booth. We did tell them that if they are ready for an interview, then we would like to see that.
Yeah, I hope they join. I'd like to get some insight. We had some good battles up and down there, so...
Yeah, we had a lot of battles and a lot of pit stop strategies, but in the end, Scott Allen was the most safest driver, and I think the most quickest driver. So... good on him for winning this race, and great to see to have some competition for Nicholas Mazza. Dan Pagowski, Dixon Davenport, welcome back. Oh, and here we go. Their biggest event. What happens if you put 20 people in a skip? They're gonna crash. Well, that was our race for Formula 2, but don't hold on, because we're gonna have in 10 more minutes, we're gonna have another race, our Formula 1 race. Really excited to see how quickly can Jeffrey Decker be, or is it Leo that's gonna make it happen? I know last race, last time we were here, they had big incidents, and it was actually Jeff Snavely who took the victory. But for now, we're all gonna be curious to see that. So wait 10 minutes, and we will be back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back at our Sunday night Skippy here with our Formula 1. And we're currently looking at the qualification, so that's going to be very interesting. But we also have a driver from our Formula 2 pack, our commentator, Peter Lee. Peter, welcome to the booth.
Thank you, Pim. It's great to be here. Definitely, we'd rather be here than watching some crazy halftime show.
Oh, yeah, no, don't worry about it. And we're watching here the qualification, but while we do that, I don't think anybody set a time yet. And we're looking at Leo Oktarov. Is he going to make a move? And I only see currently 10 people who are actually on the track. So we're going to beat the Formula 2 pack with this Formula 1 pack on the moment. But Peter, how was your race? Tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, you know, it was had its ups and downs. I qualified pretty well. I think I qualified P5 or P6, and then ran a pretty solid race. I think I was running as high as fourth, and then near the end, I was really in a tough battle with Joe Zubo and Barry Stockdale, and Barry and I had a little nose-to-tail contact, and so dropped me to ninth. But
yeah.
You know, it was a solid race, and you know, it was just so much fun. You know, just close-in racing with both Joe and Barry. Really great stuff.
Yeah, we were watching it a lot of times actually, because that was the battle what happened the most, and it's nice to drive with those drivers. Joe Zubo had a complete different strategy than you. Nice to see that you guys came over there, and Barry Stockdale had a great race. Too bad of that little incident, but great to see that you didn't have that much damage. You could at least finish that car. And while I say that, I'm looking at Leo Oktarov. Is Leo gonna get any quicker than this 202.3 that he's currently putting up? And he is. Look at that 202.0. Are we gonna see a 2.1 currently? I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, that is.
Look at that,
crazy.
Jeffrey Decker. Jeffrey Decker's even quicker. Those guys are 0.004 seconds from each other. That's just, well, that's not a blanket anymore.
No, that's I don't know, bubblegum wrapper.
Yeah, exactly. And we are looking the rest of the pack. We see Michael Hounik, Philippe Jeté, Chris Herrera. Look at that, always quick, and he is great to see him back up here as well. And then, of course, Jeff Snavely. Jeff Snavely, I'm not sure, Peter, if you remembered, but Jeff Snavely actually won the last race.
That's right. And, you know, I think it's going to be really interesting. There is, you know, this is a big Formula 1 track. It's a beautiful track. The track surface is just a joy to drive a race car on. But, you know, there are some technical parts where you could try to lose people, but there is some draft effect. And so, you know, I'm guessing we're going to see the same kind of pattern where a patient driver like Jeff Snavely, you know, might be able to just lie in wait and get a good result.
Well, we're looking now at Carl Dronke, who actually had the fastest sector of this time. So imagine that. You have a quicker sector than Leo and Jeffrey over there. I'm really curious. Well, I do see that Leo is trying to move up as well. Has a quick second sector. Let's have a quick look how he comes over the line. Because I know it's first Leo, and Jeffrey is a little bit behind that.
Yeah, Carl Dronke is just rounding the last corner. That empties out onto the start-finish front straight. And
Leo is not improving, but is Carl Dronke improving? Currently on that 9th position. I want to see him in the top 5. And look at that, top 2. Top 2, look at that. Jeff Snavely comes up, and suddenly Jeffrey Decker has some issues. Is also already in the pit. What is that?
Yeah,
He's
we
already...
have Leo Oktarov with a 201.7 to take the provisional pole.
No. You
Yes.
gotta be kidding me. I thought Philippe Jeté would be the quickest over here. He's also going into the pit at a 201.9. Yes, I would go into the pit with that one. You can't be any quicker, but Philippe Jeté, really fast time. And now we see Leo Oktarov still trying to beat his own time. Man, you gotta be 201. What's the VRS time on this?
I believe Amir's time is in the 202s, and so these are crazy fast. And I'm guessing during the race we'll have at least half a dozen of these drivers in the 201s, maybe even more.
Yeah, and look at Carl Dronke currently again putting that fastest sector over there. And very interesting to see.
In the practice session before qualifying, Leo Ovtcharov was actually in the 200s. He had a fast lap of 2:00.4, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 drivers that were in the 201s or below.
Oh wow! Well, we're looking currently at Max DiGiacomo, who's driving quite fast. See if he can improve his time over here. Oh, and there is qualification. I was going to be very curious what Carl Dronke could do, actually.
Yeah,
wow.
They couldn't finish their last laps. Time has run out in the session. And so that means Leo Ovtcharov is our pole position winner, followed by Philippe Jeté, Carl Dronke, Jeff Snavely, Jeffrey Decker, Michael Hownick, Mark Rayner, Michael McLeod, Chris Herrera, Scott Bell. That's your top 10. And then to round out the field, we have J.R. Hoops, Max DiGiacomo, Brian Perez, Steve Dewar, Benjamin Harris, Andrew Cole, Sammy Bridges, Rob Adams, and Jason Berkheimer. Pim, I think we have something special to say about Steve Dewar, don't we?
I do. I always have something special to say, but there is something really special with Steve Dewar. Steve Dewar actually is not just one of the first racers in this league, but actually drove 100 races with this race. So Steve Dewar, congratulations from KVK. Impressive run he done so far, and yeah, amazing to see that. I think I'm not sure how many races you have, Peter, but that will take a while before you get to that 100.
100 races in Sunday Night Skippy is quite a milestone, and boy, congratulations to Steve. He's a real linchpin of this entire league.
Yeah, I know, it's great to see that. We're going to have a quick look at the weather, see that there's some questions about it. It's currently 72 Fahrenheit and 78 Fahrenheit is the road temperature. So not too bad, it's not too cold. We're early in the morning, 9:20 here in Hungary. So great temperatures for a really great race. I'm looking a little bit where we're going with this.
This is a track that really benefits a lot from usage, and so I think with the heavy practice session that these drivers had, that track usage that rubbered in carries over into qualifying and into the race. And so it's going to be a fast track for sure. Temperatures are low enough, and I think we're going to see great speed here.
Huh, Peter, we are in the wrong booth, I think. Are we? No, we're in. There are some people in the booth hanging, but I can't see our. There's some people.
Scott Allen, yes, our Skippy Formula 2, and
let's bring him in. I don't see them. If you can see them, then I would love to hear them as well. Although, hey Scott. Hi Scott, we don't have much time, but congratulations with your first race victory in Formula 2. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's great. It's actually my second one. And
it's your second one?
Yeah, I've been out for a couple months with shoulder surgery, and finally getting back behind the wheel, and did a lot of practicing this week. And it's funny, this is the first week I've ever tried VR. So I'm kind of sold on it.
God, boy,
wow.
You were fast. You'll have to give me the name of your doctor. I could use some of that shoulder surgery. Must be.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, that's a kick in the butt. You know, I work with Mike Bowers, got me a lot of places this week, and you know, I constantly work with him. We live in the same town, so good friends from school, race together, and yeah, he got me into this and invited me, and man, I'm hooked. This is a really
Scott,
good time,
well,
guys.
Scott, it is really great to have you up here. Sorry that we noticed you quite late. I do. You can watch together with us the start, because the start of Formula 1 actually is right over here, and we do see that Whoa, the first position is still for Leo Octaro, but Philip Chete is right behind there. And immediately Carl Dronke and Jeff Snavely are making a run. Interesting
Jeffrey
to
Decker
see.
right on Jeff Snavely's gearbox. You know, and these are this is a track. We have some contact between Jeffrey Decker and who was that? Was that Michael Hounik? I'm not sure.
Yeah, and Chris Herrera goes off here as well. And I think McLeod is actually parking his car right there. Already a lot of movement. Yeah, that can happen. I see that Michael McLeod is actually now is crashed. And that means, look at this, we already have a top 5. Leo Octaro, Philip Chete, Carl Dronke, Jeff Snavely, and Jeffrey Decker. Awesome to see that.
Yeah, that lead pack, I think, benefited from the incident there. That's in turn 2. That's, you know, this is a track that actually beds in pretty quickly, quicker than you'd expect with the Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars. But that is one corner that takes a little while before you can really take it at full speed.
Look at this, and they're going very, very quickly, these first drivers. A little bit further back, we see Scott Bell, 7th position, trying to hold on together with Max DiGiacomo to see if they can come back to that first group. And you need to be there if you want to make a chance on that first position. Leo Octarov is pushing and is pulling that whole group out of each other. But Scott Bell looks a little bit to get back.
Yeah, and Max Giacomo is in his draft. They might be able to make up some ground here. Well, it'll be tough because that lead pack, you know, they're all drafting with each other. And then, of course, there's another pack starting with P9.
Oh, look at this. Steve Durr and Brian Perez are going for 10th position. And Brian Perez is going to do that inside. And yeah, that's really difficult to fend for Steve Durr.
Yeah.
Steve Durr, 100 races. Always finish a lot of times. And we do see someone going off track over there. I think that was Andrew Cole, if I see that correctly. But here in the front, everything's okay. Leo Octarov still in the lead, and Velocipede right behind there. Carl Dronke, Jeff Snavely. Nothing news. Our biggest charger on the moment is Sammy Bridges.
Yeah, Sammy is in the midst of a pack there where he's seeing Benjamin Harris and Chris Herrera in his rearview mirror, and actually Brian Perez as well. You know, that pass we saw earlier on Steve Durr, that is one of the prime, maybe the prime passing opportunity, and that's at the end of the front straight. It's very, very hard. You can compromise yourself by taking the inside line to defend, but then that leaves you susceptible to an over-under pass from the outside. And so it'll be very interesting to see what these drivers do as they try to break away from these draft packs.
Yeah, and we still see in the front basically the same pack. And Leo Octarov is getting a little bit away. The rest of the pack is quite close. I'm curious to think what Jeffrey Decker thinks of this. We've seen this before, and Jeffrey wait a couple of laps before he actually comes back up.
It does look like Leo Octarov is starting to create a little bit of a gap. Super difficult to do, but you know, it's really Leo Octarov maybe about a half a second ahead than Philippe Jete.
And there comes Chris Herrera, who is now taking a move on, I think, Brian Perez over there. Oh no, he's actually taking a move on Benjamin Harris. And he does make that work. Look at that.
And what you see, the over-under then, which is the thing that's so difficult, and that's a way to defend from the outside. The problem here now is he'll be on the outside rather than in the inside on this.
Yeah, and Chris Herrera is a little bit quicker than Benjamin Harris, and now that technical part comes, and there it's difficult to actually pass. So great move from Chris Herrera. Moved up position to position number 12.
Mm. The other thing that we'll be looking for here are slowdowns. where they're coming out of that turn 4, if you go a little bit too wide, you're subjected to a 1.5-second slowdown. That could be crucial at the right parts of the race.
Yeah, and we do see that everybody is trying to pass Benjamin Harris. Now Brian Perez is on the back over there. And he needs to keep in touch with Chris Herrera. And yeah, then you need to pass Benjamin Harris on the moment. Great to see that complete block over there. Number 10 till number 16 or till 15 is hanging on. But after
the rest of the field is starting to spread out a little bit.
Yeah, well, spreading out. Look at that. Leo Octaro is now out of that draft. He can drive on his own. Philippe Cheté is really losing, and now it's 1.1 seconds. And you will see now it will go hard. Now Jeffrey Decker needs to do something. We're only in lap 3, but he's forced by Leo Octarov. He needs to do something. For sure he's saving.
Yeah, it's very hard to know. It's the problem is that three cars ahead of him are really drafting with each other.
Well,
and
so, while we say that, look at this. We see Carl Dronke taking that second position. So it's already, let's give up on Leo and let's fight for this. And that means that Carl Dronke is now taking that second position. But look at Jeffrey Decker. How he drives. He doesn't want to take any more further position. Wants to stay in that 5th position on the moment.
I am watching the progress of Scott Bell, who's running P7 right now. And Scott is about 3 seconds behind this lead pack.
Yeah, he's losing that part, but what do you think about Max? Because Max was dropping and is now getting a little bit closer to Scott Bell.
That's right. And so Max and Scott could try to find a way to work together. It's really maybe the only hope, because they're just going to have to give each other an aerodynamic edge here somehow.
Yeah, we do see a little bit more spread, you're right. We now see Sammy Bridges driving a little bit on his own. Steve Durr is 1.3 seconds away from that. Oh, and Brian Perez takes a big off track over there.
Yeah. We missed something with Chris Herrera also. Chris is running in P16. So he either had some slowdown penalty or an off track that dropped him down.
He went into the pits.
Yes, you're right. I missed that. And so that could be an undercut attempt by Chris Herrera. One thing we saw in Skippy Formula 2, Pim, I don't know how it looked from the broadcast booth, but from the track it looked like the undercut was pretty effective at this track.
Yeah, I do have to say we saw so many different movements that was difficult to actually follow if what was the case on that. But I do think it could definitely help. And here with Formula 1, you can see that Jeff Snavely currently on that 4th position. He's fine with that, together with Jeffrey Decker. I don't think they're really too much worried about Leo Octarov, apparently.
Well, Leo Ovcharov is now almost 2 seconds ahead of that pack, and so I think we can say pretty safely, Pim, that it's Leo Ovcharov in P1, and then there is a pack for P2 with the 5 drivers: Carl Dronke, Philippe Cheté, Jeff Snavely, Jeffrey Decker, and Michael Howenick.
Yeah, and right behind there is then Scott Bell and Max De Giacomo. And then you have the group of JR Hoops, Steve Durr and Sammy Bridges, who is currently our hard charger, 6 positions up. When I say that Steve Durr and JR Hoops are going battle to battle over there. We should have a look how many races JR Hoops actually drove, because I don't think it's going to change that much from Steve Durr.
Yeah, and it is looking to me like Sammy Bridges and Mark Rayner are making progress in closing the gap up to Steve Durr and JR Hoop. So we'll want to keep an eye on that as the laps wind down here.
Yeah, and we do see some changes here in the front as well. I see Jeffrey Decker getting a little bit more antsy, getting really close now to Jeff Snavely, and that was close.
Yeah, it looked like a little love tap.
Well, everybody keeps on driving, especially Leo Oktarov, because he's now on that first position. 2.2 seconds. Look at that, the 201.3. That guy's quick. And Philippe Chete, is he going to make a move over here? Or is he just trying to defend it a little bit? I don't think you have to defend. I think everybody knows.
Yeah. You know, it's almost just trying to show your nose in the right rearview mirror there. Yeah, I was doing the same thing on Joe Zubo in the Skippy Formula 2 race. It's just, you're just wanting to make sure that they don't forget you right there.
Yeah, currently there is a fight going on for position number 13. Benjamin Harris and Brian Perez. They're still going at it. Let's see if we can drive along here with Brian Perez. Then you can see how close he gets to Benjamin Harris. I love that space car from Benjamin, I have to say.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Now, as they come down here, this is a beautiful turn. It's almost flat on fourth gear once you hit the apex, and you have to stay on the track on that exit, and it's just on the knife edge. And then slow down the third gear around this.
You do see that Brian Press is trying to take some different lines to get a better exit. He's going to see if he can do that here again, but it's difficult because this is the difficult part. It's really difficult to actually do an overtake over here. I have to say, the fight that you had with Kurt Smith was also very nice to see.
Yeah, you know, this section here, there really is only one line. It's a beautiful track to hot lap on your own, but you don't really get passing opportunity until here. Now, this is another braking zone where you can try to dive on the inside, but you have to get a great run out of those S's that were previous to this.
And Peter, I'm looking at number 2 position with basically the whole group, but Michael Hounik has a little bit of a bad exit. See if that can actually worry him, or is he coming back just on that draft? And Philippe Chete is making the same move every time. Wants to make sure no one dives him into there.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Jeff Snavely and Jeffrey Decker are just saving fuel.
I think every time Philippe Chete does that, just to put his nose in Carl Drunke's right rear view mirror, I think you and I have to be glad that we're not broadcasting Carl's in-car chat.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we do see that Max Giacomo actually overtook Scott Bell. Not sure where that happened. Maybe I can have a quick look.
Yeah, it was at the end of the front straight, and it was a great move by Max Giacomo. Took that inside line. Scott Bell tried to do the over-under, but was unsuccessful in reclaiming a spot.
Yeah, and that's difficult to defend it, Peter, or not?
It's very, very difficult. The over-under, you know, if perfectly executed, will give you that position back, but boy, it's so difficult.
Now we're jumped back to the front. I do want to see what Carl Dronke on that second position. It doesn't win any points, but he is leading that group for a long time. Curious to see if we're going to see something of that when he goes into the pit, because it will infect your fuel.
Yep, it will. We should expect 2 pit stops here. Just an update: Leo Ovtcharov is now 3.3 seconds ahead of this.
Yeah, and it's a 45-minute race, so does that mean that we're going to have 2 pit stops? Because Jeffrey Decker says we do. He is going into the pit. Look at that. He's going to go very early. And I want to bet to you, whoa, nearly goes off track over there.
Well, he'll be attempting an undercut here. And,
and look at that. He has no pit limiter. Really goes to the limit over here, where everybody else is driving 47. He drives 51. And make some time up in that pit, and you will see how quickly he get out of there. Because he won't be in there for very long. I'm going to suspect he's going to have a very quick...
Scott Bell and Brian Perez also taking their first refueling stops.
And Jeffrey is staying longer in than I suspected, I have to say. He's going to have an interesting... needs to be very quick. Jeffrey, Chris Herrera is coming over there. But you see that Jeffrey Decker just took that corner, and then you lose a little bit of that momentum, so Chris Herrera won't come any closer.
that might have been a situation where Jeffrey might not have minded Chris Herrera coming out ahead just to provide a little bit of a draft help. But we'll have to see how this undercut works out when the other 4 drivers make their pit stops.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how Carl Dronke, Philip Jeté and Jeff Snavely are now going to react. Because he's gone. Jeffrey Decker is gone. What do we need to do?
Yep.
Is an undercut working? Did they watch Formula 2? All these questions.
You know, I have to say, in my race, I regretted not making the undercut because I was in the battle with Joe Zubo, and Joe and several other drivers, Kurt and others, did do the undercut, and it looked effective. And so it'll be very interesting to see if that holds up with these much faster drivers.
Yeah, we're jumping to
I
JR
think
Hoops.
Techie is, and Michael Hownick are now taking their pit stops as well. So we'll get our first indication of what happens just to compare how those 2 drivers come out of the pits relative to Jeffrey Decker.
Yeah, and then Philip Jeté is following Carl Dronke. So they're now in that lead. And Carl doesn't mind. Carl has done this now the whole time, driving basically at the front.
You know, Leo,
I'm curious what Leo is going to do. Look at this. We hear his engine.
And he's even pointed his car in his pit box.
Oh, look at that. And I don't see anything coming out of the pit yet. We do see Jeffrey Decker, but Jeffrey Decker is not holding that. But I do think he gained a lot of times. Look at this. Look at this. He is gaining a lot of time.
And he came out ahead of Michael Hownick and Jeff Snavely.
Yeah, so he did a really good move.
Yeah.
Now
So
he can...
the undercut was actually very effective. It really made up, I would estimate, about 3 seconds of time.
Yeah, and of course we don't know how much fuel he got, so maybe he goes in very quickly again. But I think he did a lot of fuel saving, and that's going to help him right now. Because if he can run to Leo, and he's so close into that draft, nearly has that draft. You can smell him.
Right. So all of our drivers have now pitted except for Carl Dronke and Philip Jeté. So Carl Dronke and Philip Jeté are running 1, 2, but they have yet to pit. And that will be the last pieces of the puzzle on the effectiveness of the undercut. And both Carl Dronke and Philip Jeté are now in the pit entry lane, coming in for their pit stops.
Yeah, nice smooth job from Carl Dronke, but also Philip Jeté was a nice move. Curious to see where they're going to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll come out somewhere in the middle of Leo Uptroff, Jeffrey Decker, Jeff Snavely, Michael Hownick.
I hope so, and I hope they can do something very interesting. We do see that Jeff Snavely is trying to get a move up there.
Carl Dronke is...
yeah, but I think Jeff Snavely has more speed. I'm curious to see. Jeff Snavely goes on that outside. Michael Hownick together there as well. But Carl Dronke sticks it to the inside, and this is going to be an interesting part to see coming up in the S's over there.
Well, Pim, I conclude that the undercut was very effective for those drivers that took advantage. Because these later, the drivers that pitted a little bit later ended up losing positions. That's Carl Dronke and Philip Jeté.
Yeah, now we basically have a group that goes for the third position. That's Carl Dronke, Jeff Snavely, Michael Hownick and Philip Jeté. And before that is Jeffrey Decker, of course, I want to say, and Leo Uptroff. And that is getting really, really close. Jeffrey is still not in that draft. Leo is just pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yep. Pim, you know, I'm looking at this battle for P9 that has just erupted. P9 right now is being held by JR Hoops but Steve Dewar and Sammy Bridges are just bearing down on this gearbox. And, you wonder if J.R. Hoops and Steve Dewar might actually be a little bleary-eyed. They had just competed in the Bathurst 12-hour endurance race yesterday. They've got to be feeling a little bit of exhaustion from that. That could give Sammy Bridges an advantage at some point in this race.
Yeah, although don't think that Sammy Bridges didn't do anything. He drives every race, every time. A lot of you can also find him on stream. Sammy Good Times on Twitch. Always great to see that. But he's in a fight with Steve Dewar and J.R. Hoops. When I say that, Jeffrey Decker, 2:01.0 fastest time.
Wow.
And he is in the draft of Leo Oktarov, so that's going to be an interesting fight. And of course we have the fight behind there for position number 3. Carl Dronke, Jeff Snavely and Michael Hounik. And Philippe Cheté actually is also still connected over there.
Yeah, that battle for P3, that's pretty fierce. We have the battle for P1 between Leo and Jeffrey, but this P3 battle, they are very, very close to each other. Just an update, Max Giacomo in P7 is pretty safely ahead of Scott Bell in P8. And then, we have that battle for P9 with J.R. Hoops, Steve Dewar, Sammy Bridges, and Mark Rayner is starting to make contact with that group. So that's turning into a 4-car battle for P9.
Yeah, Mark is getting up to temperature and is now in draft of Sammy Bridges. So that will be a nice pack. We of course have that pack for 4th going on, or for 3rd. But this is also an interesting fight.
It is. And I think we have, what I'm imagining is an angry Chris Herrera in P16 who's starting to reel in Andrew Cole in P15. And so it'll be super interesting to see if and when they make contact, what kind of battle erupts there.
It is, but it is for position number 15, so that will not be as interesting for that position number 2, because or for number 1, because look at that, Leo Oktarov with Jeffrey Decker. What does it say if Jeffrey Decker can't catch you? Or at least, 0.9 still.
Pam, I was just looking at how Leo exits that final turn, and I just don't get it. He gets so much exit speed out of that final turn, and it looks like an early turn-in to me. Boy, I don't. It's just. I guess it's alien the way that he drives.
Let's call it that. I think that's a correct statement, and we do see that. Mark Reiner now is fully up to Sammy Bridges. And Sammy needs to defend if he doesn't want to lose a spot over here. Currently still 6 positions up. I was expecting a little bit better. I think he himself as well. Last time I spoke to him, he was hoping for a top 5. Well, then he needs to move on and get rid of Mark Reiner. And currently that's not working.
Yeah, Mark Reiner might be actually faster here. It's hard to find and pick a spot for a pass here. But, Mark Reiner qualified in the top 10. And so he definitely has the speed.
Yeah, and in front of him, of course, there's still J.R. Hoops with Steve Dewar. And then we, of course, still have our main group, Jeff Snavely, Michael Hounik, Philippe Cheté, and Max is not there. Carl Dronke is actually leading this group. In cycling terms, we would call this the peloton.
Just a quick update, Andrew Cole is in the pits, and so he has given up the position to Chris Herrera, but that is probably the last pit stop for Andrew Cole, so he'll be good to go for the rest of the race.
Well, I'm curious to see, because Jeffrey Decker, I think he wanted to do a shortcut, but now he's getting so close to Jeffrey Decker, to Leo Oktarov. It's every lap it's 1/10. So that will mean that he needs 6 more laps before he gets to Leo, while Leo just posted the fastest lap again, 2:01.04. Those guys are maniacs. And look at this, Jeff Snavely. He made that position, he made that move the whole time, and the whole time he was behind Carl Dronke, and this is the first time that he actually tries to make that move, but he doesn't make it stick. Carl Dronke is really, really quick in that first sector. We've seen that in the qualification, and we've seen that now again.
I should give a shout out to Carl Dronke. When I was first learning this track, I had the good fortune to be on track in the practice session with Carl Dronke, and he gave me some amazingly effective coaching, and it's really just taught me a lot, not only about this track, but about driving the Skippy fast.
Yeah, well, it happened what you already were saying. I see Mark Reiner has overtaken Sammy Bridges and is now trying to see if he can get up to speed with Steve Durr. Let's have a quick look how that actually went, because I think Sammy Bridges made a small mistake over there. Can hold it onto the track, but then immediately Mark Reiner comes up and takes that position. Thank you, free spots.
Yeah, that turn 2 hairpin is pretty slick. It's probably the slickest turn in this entire course.
Yeah, so the group is still together. Peloton is arriving. We see Michael Hounik now really getting closer to Jeff Snavely. Right behind there is still Philippe Cheté. Vroom, 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 vroom. And they're all following Carl Dronke into that last corner.
Meanwhile, to your earlier point, Pim, Leo Truff and Jeffrey Decker have completed another lap, and Jeffrey has eaten another 1/10 out of the lead.
And I'm not sure why, but Jeffrey Decker just drove a 2:00. 2 minutes on this track. That is an amazing time. Of course, he has draft from Jeffrey Decker. From Leo, but yeah. That's a really, really, really quick time. Those guys make it happen, but they did that before. And after that was actually the number 1 was coming not from Leo and Jeffrey. They, exactly on this corner, they made a touch. And then it was Jeff Snavely who took that victory. I'm curious to know if Carl Dronke can actually remember that and thinks, I'm good on this 3rd spot. But look at that, they're really, really getting, they're really close to each other, driving like one centipede going over this track.
Yeah, they do take very, very similar lines in every corner. You can guess that they're pretty optimal. Just a quick update on that battle for P9. JR Hoops continues to hold it pretty solidly ahead of Steve Durr. Mark Reiner is just eating away at the lead there, and is now within well within Steve Durr's draft. And so that's another thing we'll want to keep our eyes on, just to see if Mark Reiner is able to catch up and do something with Steve Durr.
It's great to see Mark Reiner getting better and better, and he has chosen some nice people to fight with, because this is a great group of old-timers, Sammy Bridges, Steve Durr and JR Hoops. All right, let's have a quick look. Jeffrey Decker is getting another 10th closer.
A quick update, Carl Dronke has gone into the pits for his second refueling stop.
Oh, interesting to hear that. That means that Jeff Snavely now needs to do that, needs to drive on that front. Probably didn't expect that.
And while we're looking at Carl Dronke and Benjamin Harris now also entering the pits, I see Andrew Cole has remained in the pits, and so I'm not sure what that's about. Maybe he's having to tune into the Super Bowl action.
Or he just wants to see the race on KVK Racing Network, and he just missed too much information. I can totally understand why you want to just watch the race, because it is an exciting race over here. Leo Claroff and Jeffrey Decker always make a show, and they do that again over here. Look at that. Jeffrey Decker takes a little bit of the dirt, moves up over there.
Yeah, the gap is now less than 0.5 seconds.
I do have to say that I see them take small little off tracks over there.
Yeah.
And then the group behind there, Michael Hounik, currently Philippe Chaté and Jeff Snavely who are driving over here.
Well, in fact, this is a track, a little bit like the Red Bull Ring thing, where some strategic off tracks are very, very helpful. In my own SF2 race, I think I ended the race with 14x. Of course, 4 of those were from a contact, so 10x.
And look at this, both the leaders are going into the pit. And we will see how much they actually gain over here. Look at that. I know Jeffrey Decker, the last time he did that very smart, but Leo has an excellent pit entry. And it's really, really hard to gain any time over there. I also see Jeff Snavely coming into the pit, so it is going to be Michael Hounik and Philippe Chaté who are actually taking over that first and 2 position. Max is over there with his 3rd. But I'm waiting for Jeffrey Decker and Leo Oktarov. When are they coming out? And whoa, look at this! Look at this!
Jeffrey Decker is slow coming out of the pits.
Wow, that's an amazing difference. And this is a really good move from Leo Oktarov. Did Leo put enough fuel in there? That's my only concern.
Yeah, that is the question. And only time will tell. We have just over 13 minutes left in this race. And it'll be very, very interesting to see if Leo Oktarov took on enough fuel. Now, of course, the undercut in the first pit stop that Jeffrey Decker had, which gained him, I think, around 3 seconds on the track, maybe he underfueled and had to then take a longer fuel stop the second time around. We really don't know, and we won't know until the end.
No, we will not. Of course, we know that Jeffrey Decker always comes to give us an update here in the booth. About his beautiful dog, but Jeffrey currently is that 7th position, and he's suddenly 4 seconds behind Leo Oktarov, where it was like 3/10. So I do think that there went something wrong in his pit stop. But this is a great way for Leo Oktarov to run away. But of course, we need to look at Michael Hounik and Philippe Chaté, because they're still in their first and 2 position. Only they need to pit.
Yeah, a quick update, JR Hoops and Steve Dewar in that battle for P9 did go in also for their second pit stops. And so that leaves Mark Rayner and Sammy Bridges out there still having to make their second pit stops. And
what happened then with Carl Dronke? Why is he driving behind Steve Dewar?
That is a very good question. Now Mark Rayner and Sammy Bridges are entering the pits. And so we'll have to see where
I'm
they...
just looking up here for Carl Dronke, because he's overtaking Steve Dewar like he isn't even there. I think there went something wrong with Carl Dronke, and that's the reason why he's now currently on that 12th position. While I say that Max, Mark, Sammy, Chris, all are in the pit, and that makes Jeffrey Decker a happy man, because he can take up that 4th position again. Look at this, how far he is away from Leo Oktarov. I'm really, really amazed. I don't know what happened over there, but this looks like a really easy race for Leo Oktarov.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what happened to Carl Dronke. It's really unclear. I haven't seen anything happen. But hopefully we'll get some news about that a little bit later.
Yeah, Carl Dronke is making a big move. He's now going past Mark Reiner, or at least trying to. It's going to be interesting to see, but Mark Reiner holds in over there wisely, because Carl Dronke was going really, really quick. Carl Dronke is making some interesting moves and is back in that top 10, currently number 9.
Yeah, all of our drivers have made their second refueling stop except for Michael Hounik in P1 and Philippe Chaté in P2. So we would probably expect to see them both come into the pits this time around, and they're just rounding the last corner before the pit entrance, and so we'll be able to take a look and see what they do.
Yeah, and they will have to pit. I do see that... no!
Philippe Chaté is going to stay out. I think that's a play for the bonus point to lead a lap in this race.
Well, I don't know what he does, but it does work for him. Look at that. He is currently on that first position. Chaté takes that one.
And, that's a very strategic move. He just was able to just barely get past Michael Honick while Michael was in the pit lane to take that P1 at the start-finish line. That will give him a bonus point. Meanwhile, with Leo Ovtcharov is now a full 5.5 seconds ahead of Jeffrey Decker. It's incredible. And so Leo is just not giving Jeffrey Decker the benefit of his draft at this point.
Well, Jeffrey Decker doesn't have to look forward. He needs to look backwards because Michael Honick is getting really close. Came out the pit over there and is now really close to Jeffrey Decker. I am really curious what happened to Jeffrey. I have no idea, but it's not going as planned.
Yeah, there's again, we're just going to have to see if Leo Ovtcharov underfueled in that second pit stop, and if so, whether he underfueled appropriately.
Look at this, I'm looking a little bit further backwards for position number 14. Benjamin Harris and Chris Herrera, and right in front of them Brian Perez, who is making an interesting race.
Chris is going to come side by side coming to turn 4, a very, very hard place to pass.
Yeah, don't say that to Chris because he will try it.
You have to show a little bit of patience here now in this windy technical section we come through, starting with this chicane.
Philippe Chaté went into the pit.
Yeah, he's collected his bonus point. He had enough fuel to do that. That will complete the entire field now.
And we do see that Leo is taking what he owns. That first position over from Philippe Chaté. We can see him here in the pit. And he is, I'm very curious how Jeffrey Decker is going to see this. Jeffrey Decker is taking that second position because Philippe Chaté is now coming out of the pit. But he can't hold that, and I don't even think he can hold Michael Honick. So Philippe Chaté will go back to that fourth position, and that's not what he wants to be.
No, and so there is basically Leo Ovtcharov, and then we have the trio, Jeffrey Decker, Michael Honick, Philippe Chaté, and then a bit further back, about 4 seconds or 3 seconds back, is Jeff Snavely. So this lead pack of drivers has really gotten spread out as a result of these different pit stop strategies.
Yeah, we're driving along with Carl Dronke, who can now smell Scott Bell, and that is for position number 7, top 10. Carl Dronke, let's have a quick look, by the way. I'm curious to see the standings.
Yeah, let's see about those. It's Carl Dronke is definitely in the mix.
Well, he's in the mix. He's currently on that third position. And Jeffrey Decker is 4 points ahead of Leo Ovtcharov. So very much to play for. And look at this, Carl Dronke is getting really close.
Yeah, Carl is just really applying a lot of pressure, and that's meaningful because Scott Bell in the season standings is sitting at P5. So Carl Dronke in P3. So this has meaningful impact for both drivers.
Where would you do this overtake? And look at this. Oh, Carl Dronke!
Oh! Carl overcooked it in the final.
And immediately he has difficulties because now Steve Durr is coming. Oh no, JR Hoops is coming over there.
Yes.
And overtakes that 8th position. Oh, this is a little bit too much pushing from Carl Dronke.
You almost wonder if there was just a little bit of arrow rush there, but Carl's going to try this inside pass. He's not giving JR Hoops any room there on the outside.
No, this is great to see that. Look at that. And now it's who is the bravest? And currently that's Carl Dronke on that inside line. Easy to say, I have to say, but J.R. Hoops is wise enough and a very safe driver, so knows that he's not going to push that, and he will get one more chance. We do have 5 more minutes in this race. But are they going to get past Scott Bell? Because he is holding off Carl Dronke already for a long time. Let's go back to Philippe Chaté. Philippe Chaté is currently still behind Michael Hounik to see if he can get on to that podium.
Yeah, in fact, and Philippe has been slowly chipping away at the gap to Michael Hounik. And so I think next time around the start-finish line, they'll probably have 2 more laps. And so it's do or die time coming up for Philippe Chaté if he wants to get on that podium.
Look at...
Kind of looking also back at J.R. Hoops is really closing in. I think being helped by Carl Dronke as Carl just applies so much pressure on Scott Bell. That's also allowing Mark Rayner to make contact. This is just going to be a epic battle for P7.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is going to be the more interesting than to see who's going to win this race. Currently, Carl Dronke is putting a lot of pressure on, but it's still not there. Made that mistake already, so, you have to wait. Yeah. If he waits too long, Mark Reiner is going to come closer and closer. And look at J.R. Hoops. Is he going to make a move over here?
Oh, looks like Carl's going to
Carl
try
Dronke.
to move again. And again, he's squeezing Scott to the outside.
Oh, interesting to see. And J.R. Hoops is trying to make that move as well, but he gets the shut door from Scott Bell. Well defended, and Carl a little bit off track, but keeps his position over here. And Scott Bell is going to look on the inside over here. Is he going to make that? No, he's not going to make that. We still have 2 more laps to go, so he doesn't have to do that right over here, but we are getting really tight to this race.
Indeed, we are. Meanwhile, back up front, Philippe Chaté now has closed in right on Michael Hounik's gearbox as they go through the chicane and enter the technical section of the course. What's so important is to maintain contact through this technical section and see if you can get a run. One opportunity will come right about here as they come around. See if you can get a good run and take a peek at the inside. It looks like it's not going to happen, and so we'll have to have a little bit of patience and try the front straight on the white flag lap.
Yeah, and we do see that Leo Oktarov is now taking that last lap, while we see the distance between him and Jeffrey Decker getting bigger and bigger. Michael Hounik over there on the end, and we do see that Leo gets the white flag, so that means this is the last lap, the last opportunity for Philippe Chaté to actually overtake Michael Hounik. Is he going to do that here in turn 1? You should have enough room over here. Philippe Chaté is going to make that move. Is he not going to make that move? The number 17. I don't think he's there. He's not there.
He may not be close enough. Yep.
Ooh.
Oh, and they're both out. It looked like Michael Hounik got a little bit loose in the front under braking. That's going to allow Philippe Chaté to get side by side as they come down to turn 2.
Look at that. Philippe Chaté is now taking over that 3rd position. He is now on that podium. Really great to see that. Can he hold off Michael Hounik, or is that too much? And while I say that, Mark Rayner had a great position and is now falling back because he had to go back into the pit. Probably didn't take enough fuel. It is really going for this podium spot right now, and Philippe Chaté is taking more and more distance from Michael Hounik. These guys are going really, really fast. And when I say that, I do see that Benjamin Harris couldn't finish this race and is crashed in the background. Really sorry to hear that.
It looks like Philippe Chaté is actually creating a larger gap in this technical section of the course. That's going to make it super challenging for Michael Hounik to get any kind of run for a pass as they come to this last back straight. It's really the last real chance to make a pass. And no, I don't think Michael Hounik has close enough contact here at the end of the straight to make any
No,
turn.
Jeff Snavely is going to come a little bit closer, but not close enough. And then let's go back to Leo Oktarov. Has been a finisher all the time, was all the time up into that front, but has shown us in this race again, once again, what a true winner he is. Leo Oktarov on the first position. Congratulations. You see him coming over here, 7 seconds in front of Jeffrey Decker. And after that, we see Philippe Chete coming right over here, and then Jeff Snavely. Michael Hounik has a problem over here, has no more fuel and has to drop, and is coming in on that 5th position just before Max Di Giacomo. And then we see Carl Dronke that comes in over here. Right after there, Scott Bell, JR Hoops, Steve Durr. Congratulations one more time, Steve Durr, for completing this 100th race. Great job. We see Sammy Bridges, and then Chris Herrera is now still in the fight with Brian Perez, but Brian Perez can't make that happen, and they're wiggling together over the finish line. And of course, then we see Mark Rayner. And his last driver up here is Benjamin Harris, who is actually going to finish this race, and that is our complete track.
Well, that was a fantastic race, a masterful performance, both in pit speed, pit strategy, and on track by Leo Oktarov.
This was very amazing to see, and I'm looking, I see we have the official race results. Leo Oktarov, Jeffrey Decker, Philippe Chete, Jeff Snavely, Michael Hounik, all the people that are in there that we suspected. Who's the driver of the day for you, Peter?
Well, I think it has to be Leo Oktarov. You know, I think the first half of the race, of course, there was quite a bit of pressure. But if you wanted a textbook example of a perfect drive, I think you'd have to look at Leo Oktarov's drive in this race today.
Totally agree. I do think that Carl Dronke also did an amazing job. I'm still not sure what happened. Hopefully we can find that out. But he did an amazing job on driving over there. And of course we have our champion right here in our booth. Welcome, Leo, and congratulations with yet another victory.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Great, great work. So tell us a little bit about your strategy. You was the whole time you were in the front, but at one point you were off. You were gone. And then?
Yeah, it seemed like the first stint was going pretty well. I was able to chip away a little lead every lap, like a 10th here, a 10th there, and yeah, everything seemed to be going pretty well. First pit stop kind of was a little bit of a blunder. I overshot it, but realized what I had done right away, so I didn't kick myself too much. And then the second stint, that's where the party was, trying to keep a distance from Jeff, and yeah, that was tough. He was hanging in there, rightfully so. Of course, he's blazingly fast, and I was able to do. It looked like I was able to do a slightly better pit stop. I'm not quite sure what happened there.
A slightly better pit stop. You did an amazing pit stop, Leo. We normally always think that that's your weak point, but we can't say that anymore. This was one of your strong suits. I think you took nearly 3.5 seconds just out of that pit, and then it was just bringing it home. How do you do that, Leo?
Well, as silly as it may sound, but lapping by myself is kind of like the funnest thing for me. I do it all the time, and I just relax.
You just relax, and that works really well for you.
Yeah, I would say so.
You know, Leo, that was just such a masterful drive, and you know, your second pit stop was so much faster than Jeffrey Decker's. Pim and I were actually suspicious about whether you would have enough fuel to finish. Was there anything special that you did in that second pit stop?
No, not particularly that I could really point out to you. I mean, the pit stop for this race is actually pretty easy. It's not, it's pretty straightforward. It's a straight line. You don't have to go through a turn or anything like that. So I don't know. I guess you nailed it.
Well, you nailed it. I think that is an understatement. This will also be important for the championship. You were 4 points behind Jeffrey on the moment. I actually think you can have a big shot on that championship. How do you see that? Are you already looking into that, or are you racing race per race? How does that work for you?
Really race by race. I try not to really think of. I mean, I do think of the big picture when it comes to hairy situations, but for the most part, it's race by race, and I think that's better for me, for my mental health.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that. Of course, I am really curious what happened to Jeffrey Decker. Jeffrey Decker, you're welcome in the booth. Congratulations with a second position. I'm not sure if you're too happy about it, but can you tell us what happened in your second pit stop?
Yeah, I missed the box twice. It's a faster pit lane now. It got updated by iRacing. Obviously, I can't blame that too much. The first stop was fine. The first stop was great. But really, I think I was a little like target fixated on the back of Leo and not enough on my like stopping point, and I missed it. And then I reversed, but not far enough, and then I had to go further. So. Yeah, I really screwed myself there. Really what it comes down to, though, is I had to try to do something crazy in the pit stops. Unfortunately, the second pit stop happened, but I think my race really came down to messing up my third qualifying lap and not getting that registered. So
exactly what happened, because we saw you had a really quick lap, and then you were gone. You weren't anymore on the track.
Yeah, I was up, and then through the chicane, the back just stepped out a little bit on entry, and then I couldn't quite pull it back far enough to avoid the 1X on the second apex, and so I just got a 1X there. It was unfortunate because, it was a good lap. It was definitely firmly a P2 lap. I don't know how much up the rest of the lap I would have been, so hard to say where it would have put me. But yeah, that was just on me. I pushed a little bit too much on entry, and it bit me.
Well, you have to do something special when you drive with Leo, that's for sure. And you tried everything. I loved your first pit stop. That was a bit of a shock. And I do think that you made quite a bit of room over there. And that second one, yeah, that's too bad. But it's not a shame to be second behind Leo Oktarov. I asked Leo about the championship. I'm also curious about your thoughts on the championship. Are you already looking into that, or is it just race per race?
Well, to be honest, I think this race probably swings it mostly out of my hands. Leo racks up the bonus points week in and week out. So the only real thing I can do to kind of stay there with him is to try to be right behind him on his gearbox at the start of the race. And if I don't do that, we get these races where, he leads most laps. Gets the win on top of bonus points, and then you're down, 10 points in a race. Yeah.
That's the worst thing about Leo. Leo is not just really fast. No, he's also just really smart, and he gets all those points. He knows that he needs to get them, and this is an amazing job, Leo. Week in, week out, you together with Jeffrey Decker are really bringing up a great show, and I want to thank you both for that. It's really great to see. I have to say, we had a couple of new people coming in. Also really quick, so I do have to say you probably need to keep up your practice in this way, but great job. Leo, any shout outs that you have lying around?
Everybody from Shake and Bake, of course, you guys in the booth. To Philippe, congrats on third, man. And of course, Jeffrey, I'm sorry about the second pit stop, bro.
It's all good. Like I said, qualifying killed me.
Well, Jeffrey, and I do have to say, you also did a 12-hour Bathurst race. So impressive that you can do all those kind of things. Who do you want to thank?
Obviously, just big shout out to Wifey, big shout out to Lando. Again, not really like a new trick, an obedience thing, but he's also such a good boy that when it comes time for food, we can tell him to sit down. He does kind of a twirl for us, to say he's excited. But then when we put the food bowl down, we can tell him to wait, and then we can turn around and walk away, and he'll stay there until we say like okay or good boy, and then I'll go at it. So he's a really good boy.
He's a good boy, but he's a fast learner as well. If I hear this correctly, every week a little new things. I like the updates, Jeffrey.
You know, I'm cheating with these. Like we have them stacked up, so I'm just pulling out his abilities.
Hey, don't tell that. This is all original. We haven't planned anything. Jeffrey, one more question. We celebrated Jeffrey of Steve Durr 100 races in this league. What do you think about that?
Go Steve.
Yeah, go Steve. I agree. It's an incredible accomplishment. It's an incredible milestone. And I think this league wouldn't be nearly as fun or enjoyable without Steve and guys like Steve. So I'm very happy he's part of the Sunday Night Skippy family. I'm very happy that he's one of our OGs. And I'm so glad that he stayed around for so long.
Yeah, I know, definitely. And Leo, so I'm not sure how many races you have, but not on that 100. You still have to do quite a bit of that. But no, it's great to see those kind of drivers. I think, Jeffrey, are you nearly to that 100, or is Steve really ahead of you on that one?
He's really ahead of me on that one. I think I joined in like season 5 or something like that, or season 4 maybe, but I think season 5. Season 4.
Ah, look at that.
Sounds
You're
right, but
you both are the
know,
newbies right over here. No, great to hear from that. Thank you very much for coming back to the booth. I want to thank everybody for watching. Love to have the feedback, like you guys always tell us what we can improve and what we do really great. Great to hear that. Write your comments who you thought was the best driver, and I hope to see everybody next week. We're gonna have a week with a little bit more quiet, no ATC on Monday, but we will hope to see you on our next Sunday, where we have great races here at Cav OK Racing Network. Thank you all, and see you soon.